Hey everyone, Petty Party here today. We're going to be going over a thing that I haven't really gotten a lot of questions on, but I do have people who, straight up just messaging me and asking me about how I've done it or why the hell I do it, and that's doing buyouts. So, there's two different strategies a lot of people tend to employ in it. You've got the slow drip, and you've got the absolute just burn everything to the ground, buy up everything as fast as humanly possible. So, both of them have their pluses and minuses. It all really depends on a few different things that are going on in the market, like how expensive the product is, how much supply is on the market, how rare it is. All those things are things that you really need to be considering if you're trying to figure out A, if you should even do a buyout, and B, how you should go about doing that. So this video is just a short introduction, I'll call it, to a few things that I like to look out for if I'm going to be doing a buyout, and a few things you can be looking out to see if there's a buyout going on currently. So I'm going to use Ancient Sanctuary boxes today to go over that. Currently I've got just shy of 20 boxes still. I'm talking about first edition, original Ancient Sanctuary boxes. We're not talking about unlimited. We're not talking about reprints, even though there are none currently, but there might be. So keep that in mind. First edition always means first edition. They're not going to be doing any reprints of it. With unlimited, there's always the chance that you risk of having either the cards, the packs, or the boxes being reprinted. You look at something like the Walmart or Target reprints of LOB, MRD, Magic Spell Ruler, whatever the hell you want to call it, those packs like that, those particular items keep getting reprinted in unlimited form. You don't see them pop up again in first edition. So generally I like to stick to first edition items or, prize cards, things like that. Really shouldn't be doing anything unlimited. No offense to the people who do it. If you can make a buck, good on you. Also, tend to stay the hell away from modern. If you're trying to do a buyout on, your gold series, maximum gold, Blue Eyes White Dragons, that came out a few months ago. Don't do that. If you do, you're an idiot. You're probably going to lose a shitload of money. If you're not going to lose a shitload of money, you're going to have a whole lot of money tied up for a long time and not make a whole lot of money. Not talking about sealed product, generally sealed product over time as well. Talking about different random overprinted cards that, have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of copies. So, basically, when I looked at Ancient Sanctuary booster boxes, not summer of 2020, but summer 2019 originally, that's when I bought my first one. So I looked at Ancient Sanctuary and compared it to the other original 11 booster boxes and said, okay, well, you've got Medal of Raiders at, 2,500 at the time. You've got Magic Ruler, I think at that time was sitting around $700-800 a box. And, all the original 11 were all pretty high, other than Pharaonic Guardian and Ancient Sanctuary. Ancient Sanctuary at the time was going for between $200 and $250. And when I was looking at buying it out at that point, I said, Jesus, those are too cheap. Why the hell is an original 11 first edition, classic YuGiOh booster box so damn cheap? And at the time, I was a bit broke, didn't have a whole lot of cash. So I was thinking, okay, I need to do a buyout on these sooner rather than later. That should push up the price a decent amount just by wiping out supply in the market. Before I could get to it, someone else did it. Don't know if he wants his name named, so we're not going to get into that today. Immediately, almost within a couple, I'm not going to say overnight, but it was within a few weeks, the price went from, the 200, 250 range all the way up to 350, 400, 450. And at that time, after that supply had been wiped out momentarily, a lot of people started popping up their boxes onto the market to, lock in profits and get some free chicken tendies. Now, there's never anything wrong with trying to lock in some profit, making a few bucks to get your cost basis down, reduce your risk, things like that. But what I like looking for in a buyout, especially with something like this, is the fact that A, people don't try to lock in profits, and B, the ones that do, how many of them are actually pumping it onto the market. Because if there's a giant influx of cards on the market after a buyout occurs, it either means that A, there's a surplus amount of supply, or B, people are just trying to lock in their profits. So, after the first Ancient Sanctuary buyout, there was a decent amount of product that got pumped back onto the market. There was, anywhere from 4 to 10 Ancient Sanctuary boxes listed at any given time, kept the price artificially low for another few months. So at that point, what I ended up doing, I ended up going and waiting a few months, seeing where the market settled, went and bought some other collections, did some other things. Other cards I was worried about actually getting, I picked up and took a look back at it again in April or May of 2020. And at that particular time, there was a gentleman out in Hawaii who was selling off a bunch of booster boxes. He had a decent position in them. I think I ended up getting 5 off of him. And Dave and Adam's Card World ended up putting 15 up for sale on eBay at once. 3 of the 15 were actually unlimited, so they don't count, so we'll just say 12. So I ended up getting about 17 Ancient Sanctuary booster boxes in the run of about 2-3 weeks period. One lot I ended up paying about $380. Another lot I ended up paying about $450. And a lot of you might be wondering, why the hell did you pay that much more for one lot over the other in the sake of 2 weeks? That's like a 25-30% increase on what you were paying just 2 or 3 weeks period. And the whole point of that is that you're trying to wipe out the supply on the market. It's literally the point of a buyout, is buying out the market. That's how that works. If you sweat the small details and, worrying about a few extra percentage points, especially on something as cheap as those boxes at that point, you're not going to have a very fun time. Excuse me. So what ended up happening, wiped out those 2 supply sources. There's only a few left on eBay at the time. I think PokeRev had one up. He pulled his listing. There's only like 2 other people who had them listed. They ended up getting bought up at, I think it was about 500, and then the next one ended up going for 800. People started trickling them onto the market, but there wasn't a giant restock like after that first buyout. So that was my first indication that, a buyout was a good choice, and B, successful, because the supply wasn't there to have that sudden influx of boxes onto the market, and people weren't trying to just lock in the profits just because they've gone up, 50 to 100% in price. So that box ended up going for 800 and then up to 1,000, 1,200. There was none on the market at all for a while, so I posted one up for, I think it was like 3,000. Ended up getting a pile of offers around $1,500 range. Dropped it down to 2,500, and within a week I had it sold at 2,300. So ended up that was before Christmas, so we'll say about 6-7 month time span, that box ended up going from, that high 300s to mid 400 range up to over $2,000. If you look at the supply of Ancient Sanctuary boxes on eBay, they're still piss all of them. I know I'm not the only one with a large position in them. Like I said, there's that other individual who did the buyout year and a half ago at this point. There's a few other people who have multiple copies of that box. So there is some supply on the market. There's not a whole lot. It's just no one wants to sell any. So are they even really on the market? Because no one's selling. So that's the first way you can do a buyout. Just buy out everything immediately. Say the hell with it. You'll probably overpay a bit on some of it, but at least you're getting the stock in hand, and you're not running the risk of, buying out one or two people and then someone else noticing, oh shit, all these boxes have disappeared, I should buy up all the rest of them. And then you did all that work and someone else also ends up making a bunch of profit off of it. So you need to keep that in mind. The second way of doing it is what I like to call the slow drip. And that is where you start very, very slowly buying up the product, one or two at a time over a few week, couple month period. So generally, if you're doing something like that, you want to be buying up product from multiple sellers and looking at, okay, it's not just all this supply in the market's concentrated in, 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals. It's spread out over, 10, 12, 15, 20, however many people each have, 1, 2, 3 boxes. The slow drip is great in making a position in something if there's an abundance of supply in the market from various sellers, but also generally if no one else has a very good position in that particular item. So ideally, like I said, you want to have multiple people selling the item. You can just buy, 1 or 2 at a time per seller over a few week period. You get the first order off of them and message them a couple weeks later on. Say, oh, thanks. The package showed up. Everything is great. I wanted to grab another one off of you to hold long term or for my collection, whatever way you want to put it. Do it again. Go through all your sellers. If they have more than 1 or 2 boxes, hit them again. Buy a few more and just keep going till either the market catches on and they jack the prices up, or the supply ends up dwindling and there's nothing else left for you to buy. So that's pretty much all I wanted to go over today. Be very, very careful if you're trying to do a buyout. Don't do anything stupid, like I said, and buy anything that is still in print or being, an unlimited print that is getting reprinted, like reprint LOB packs, stuff like that. This is just some friendly advice on what I do. This is not me telling you, okay, you should go out and buy all the OG Unlimited Blue Eyes packs and boxes, anything stupid like that. Just a bit of friendly advice, not a financial advisor. You probably shouldn't be listening to me anyways. That's pretty much it, though. So I hope you learned something today and have a good one.